Hello students, this is our fifth video class of chapter number 6, Molecular Basis of Inheritance of class 12. In the previous session or previous video class, we have seen about the process of the replication, and today we are going to understand about the process of the transcription. And what is transcription? It is the process of formation of single-stranded RNA from double-stranded DNA. Okay. Now, what are the differences between the replication and transcription? Because in both the processes, principle of complementary will get followed. What happened in the case of the replication? From the double-stranded DNA, there will be a synthesis of the double-stranded DNA itself. And over here, the same process will take place. They also use the complementary rule. But the difference is only one strand getting synthesized over here. Another difference is in case of DNA, there will be a presence of thymine group, whereas in case of RNA, instead of thymine, there is a presence of uracil group. So basically, two differences are there. Now, as I have discussed, whatever the RNA produced from the DNA strands, there will be only single strand. Now, why can't it be possible to synthesize two strands at the same time, though there are two strands over here, of the two strands of the DNAs are there? There are some limitations for the cells. Which limitation? First limitation is the DNA has got two strands which runs anti-parallel to each other. So one will go from 3' to 5' and another one will come back in the reverse position 3' to 5' this way. Now though these both strands are complementary, they are not identical. So whenever the message gets read, because when the protein synthesis will take place, it will read this strand from only one side. Okay, so one strand will get read from here and second strand will get read from back side. So there will be a production or synthesis of the two different type of amino acid and two different type of polypeptide chains. If two different type of polypeptide chains will get synthesized, there will be a synthesis of two different proteins from the same cell segment. Hence, there will be a confusion for the cell. Okay, there will be certain complication get created by the cells. And second limitation is, if both the strand will synthesize the complementary RNA, those complementary RNA will get bind with each other and they will form double-stranded RNA. Now, what will happen if those cells will create or those cells will form the double-stranded DNA? If they will do this kind of thing, the further process will get interrupted. How? If the cell want to produce the protein, they will use the single-stranded mRNA, and from the mRNA, at the site of this mRNA, several different mechanisms or several different structures will bind with that, and they will read that strand and will produce the proteins. But if those both are binded with each other with the hydrogen bonds, whatever, they will not allow the structures to get incorporated with them and synthesis of the new protein of whatever they are responsible for creation of the protein. That protein will not get produced, hence the process will get stopped. So there is no meaning of all those activity which has been done by the cell. That is why there will be a synthesis only of only a single-stranded RNA. Hope you are clear with this concept. Now we will move for the transcription unit. What is transcription unit? As we have discussed, in case of the replication, the whole DNA that will get replicated. Okay, but in case of the transcription, small fragments will get transcribed and will produce a RNA. There are different types of RNAs. Say for an example, those are rRNA, mRNA, tRNA. There are different types of mRNA. If we talk about the transcription unit, that they will contain several structures within them. Okay, so there will be a presence of promoter site, presence of terminator site, and the real strand which is responsible for the production of the RNA, that is called the template strands. Oh, template word always relate with the parent strand that will act further. In case of the DNA, both the strands will act as a template, but in case of the transcription, out of the two strands of the DNA, only one will act as a template, and that is why that strand will call as a template strand, and the opposite strand that will call as a non-template strand. Here, whatever the template strand is there, it will synthesize the mRNA, or we can say the RNA will be exactly same as the opposite strand. The difference among them is just the base pairing, or we can say instead of thymine there will be presence of uracil. That is why that is called the coding strands and also termed as a sense strand. Understand? Whereas the template strand, that is called as a non-coding strand and antiparallel strand. Now, if we talk about the promoter side, this promoter region is, normally we can say that promoter region is present at the upstream end of the coding strand. Now, if we don't say the coding strand, then also it can be understood, because whenever we give the reference over here, we will always talk about the coding strand. Okay, so the promoter region is present at the upstream end, and the terminator region, it is present at the downstream region. This sequence in eukaryotic cell is sometimes termed as a Tata box, we can say. Okay, why it is Tata box? Because it has got sequence something TAA repeatedly for several times. That is why that sequence is termed as promoter site. Over this side, the RNA polymerase enzyme will get bind, and the process of transcription will begin. Okay, and the termination site, that is also having the particular sequence. When this sequence will get identified by the RNA polymerase, the process will get stopped. RNA polymerase is involved in all three activities. Starting, that is called initiation. Okay, starting of the synthesis, of starting of the polymerization, then polymerization reaction, and termination and reaction. RNA polymerase will act in all three processes, but there are certain factors involved in this process. Those are called the sigma factor and rho factor. We will discuss it. Okay, so there are both the two different factors. In presence of those factors, the RNA polymerase will act differently. The part which will synthesize the RNA, that is called the structural gene. Okay, so we can say, when we talk about the transcription process, we talk about the transcription units, and those are three units, which are promoter, structural genes, and terminator. Okay, now let us discuss further about the transcription units and gene. Now, to say something about the gene, it will be difficult if we relate the DNA with that, because gene is what it is synthesized: mRNA, rRNA, tRNA. All these are different types of RNAs will be synthesized from gene. So if we relate DNA in terms of the gene, it will be quite difficult. But if we want to talk about the transcription process, we need to understand about the cistrons. Now, what are cistrons? Cistrons are the particular segment of the gene which is responsible for the production of mRNA. Okay, so cistrons are what? Suppose, say for an example, this is a cistron, then this will produce a mRNA. Because why need to understand the mRNA? Because mRNA is going to produce the proteins, the polypeptide chains. That is why cistron is important. all the different segments, all the DNA is not going to produce the mRNA. From the DNA, there will be a synthesis of different type of RNAs, and there are certain non-coding fragments also. Suppose a long strand is present into the into the DNA, and in that DNA there will be a presence of the gene in a stretches form or in the segmented form, and the inter part that will not code for the any RNA. Okay, so over here monocystronic and polycystronic. Okay, as we know that the eukaryotic DNA is long in size, so in the eukaryotic cells one cistron will synthesize one particular type of protein. Okay, but in case of the polycystronic units, those are the units. Suppose in the prokaryotic cells we are talking about. So this is a prokaryotic genome, prokaryotic gene, and this gene will synthesize mRNA, and this mRNA, if it is involved into the production of multiple type of proteins, it is called the polycystronic unit. Okay, so cistron is basically a unit that will produce the mRNA, and monocystron means whatever the mRNA is produced, they will synthesize only a single type of proteins, whereas the polycystronic, that means that they will produce multiple number or multiple types of the protein. Monocystronic units or monocystronic fragments are present in the eukaryotic cells, whereas the polycystronic units are present into the prokaryotic cells. As the genome of the prokaryotic cells is shorter than the eukaryotic cells, it requires multiple proteins get synthesized from the particular short segments. In case of the prokaryotic cells, beside this promoter and terminator regions, there will be a presence of several other factors also. Those factors we discuss in the next topic when we talk about the operons and all. Okay, now we move toward the process of RNA synthesis. For synthesis of RNA, we need RNA polymerase. Okay, now if we talk about the prokaryotic cell, there will be a there will be a presence of only one type of RNA polymerase, where in case of the eukaryotic cells, as the eukaryotic cells are more complex, there will be a presence of three different types of polymerases: RNA polymerase 1, RNA polymerase 2, and RNA polymerase 3. All three different types of polymerase, they will synthesize or transcribe three different types of RNAs. RNA polymerase 1, they will produce the rRNA. rRNA are again of different types. They are the 28S RNA, 18S RNA, and 5.8 RNA. Okay. Now RNA polymerase 2, there will be involved into the synthesis of hnRNA. When it get mature or when it get treated, they will term as a mRNA. RNA polymerase 3, there will be involved into the production of the tRNA. Okay, tRNA, snRNA, srRNA. Okay. Now there are the several different functions of particular RNA. In case of the prokaryotic cells, only one RNA polymerase is there. This common RNA polymerase will do all the activities inside. But in case of the eukaryotic cells, three different types of RNA polymerase are there, and they will function for the different activities. The eukaryotic cells, they are involved in performing different sorts of activities. Those activities are, they bring amino acid, RNA polymerase 1, the rRNA, they bring amino acid and read the codes. mRNA act as a template, that means they will involve into the production of the proteins. tRNA, they will function as a structural gene as well as the perform the catalytic activity. Okay, now we will understand the process of the transcription. Okay, transcription process is divided into three main parts: initiation, elongation, and termination. At the time of the initiation, whatever the DNTPs are present inside the cells, they will get activated. Okay, now as we talk about the DNTPs activated in case of the replication, the same type of process will take place at the time of the transcription process. So all the inactivated form of the DNTPs, they will get activated and will remain inside the cell. Now after the activation process, the transcription process will start. In the process, the first step is initiation. Over here I have tried to show you the straight sense so that you can understand. Now as you can see, this is the promoter region over here. When RNA polymerase bind with the promoter region of the DNA, that is called the initiation. Okay, now where it will be bind? Suppose this is the promoter side, we can say. Now RNA polymerase, this round pink color part I have shown here is the RNA polymerase. Now RNA polymerase will identify the promoter region of the DNA strand, or we can say the template strand, that will identify the 3' end of the template. RNA polymerase will always bind with the 3' side of the template strand. Okay, now as soon as this RNA polymerase bind with the template 3' end of the template strand, the sigma factor will come and bind with them. Suppose this is a RNA polymerase will bind on some strand. This is the sigma factor which will come and bind on top of that, and this sigma factor will act as a driver to run this RNA polymerase. Now, say for an example, this is the vehicle. We can say the car or something, and this is the driver. This one, the vehicle we got, but to run this vehicle, we need a driver. So, this sigma factor will act as a driver and it will run this vehicle. As this RNA polymerase will run on the particular strand, they will be synthesizing the new complementary, the new strand, that is called the mRNA strand. As this RNA polymerase will move further, they will identify the nucleotides present in this strand and will attract those activated nucleotides and will bind it with by the complementary principle. When this binds with this promoter side, this is called the initiation, and as they run further, they will break the H bond present in between and will synthesize the new mRNA. Okay, that is termed as the elongation. Now elongation will take place when this RNA polymerase will come at the termination site. Now at the termination site, when this RNA polymerase will come, this रो फैक्टर विल गेट रिमूव। ये जो ड्राइवर यहाँ पे बैठा है उसके डेस्टिनेशन पे आएगा, तब वो उस गाड़ी में से नीचे उतर जाएगा, तब वो गाड़ी आगे जाएगी नहीं। तो यहाँ पे आने के बाद वो प्रोसेस स्टॉप हो जाएगी एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द लेग ऑफ द ड्राइवर some other person will come and that is called the row factor. Okay, now यहाँ पे रो फैक्टर आके उस गाड़ी में बैठ गया, that रो फैक्टर will remove as soon as the रो फैक्टर will come। यहाँ पे जो भी पैसेंजर्स थे, पैसेंजर माने के whatever the strand is synthesized, जो भी पैसेंजर थे वो यहाँ तक पहुंचा है, यहाँ से वो रिमूव हो जाएंगे। ठीक है, now when this HNRNA, the newly synthesized strand will get removed, all this thing will get deassembled. The rho factor, sigma factor is already removed. Now RNA polymerase and the rho factor will also get removed from the assembly. Okay. Now what will happen the next? Now we have got the RNA, newly synthesized RNA. This RNA sequence will be from 5' to 3' side. Why? Because this one is acting as the template. So template is from the 3' to 5'. So synthesis will start from this side. So this HNRNA will be 5' to 3'. Now, why it is termed as the HNRNA? In case of the eukaryotic cells, this RNA will be having some additional sequences, some additional nucleotides will be there. Those additional parts are called the introns, whereas the necessary, those codes for the real information, those are called the exons. Now, after removal of this HNRNA, further process will take place. That is called the splicing process. Okay, splicing means the removal of the introns from the HNRNA. Whatever the sequence are not needed and not coding for the particular type of protein, those sequence will get excluded. Suppose this is the RNA, and in this RNA this dark part doesn't code anything. So what will happen? This dark part needs to be removed, otherwise those RNA which is synthesized, which will not be a functional. So this will get cut down, or we can say they will make a loop like structure. Suppose this is the RNA, and yeah, this will make the loop and they will get detached from the HNRNA. Now it is called the active form of RNA. But when it gets active, there are two main processes will take place. In case of the eukaryote, we are talking about the capping and tailing process. Why it is needed? This process needs to be there because whatever the mRNA gets synthesized, those mRNA will produce inside the nucleus. Now from the nucleus they need to be transported out inside the cell, in the plasma of the cells, to do the further process of translation, and that is why they need this capping and tailing process. What is this capping process? At the end of this 5' end side, methylated guanosine triphosphates will get attached. Methylated, okay, guanosine that we know. Now whatever the guanosine compound is there, on that compound there will be addition of methyl group. Now this is called the methylated guanosine. Triphosphate, 3 phosphates are there. So methylated guanosine triphosphate will bind at the 3' end over here. This is called the capping process, and at the end of the 3' side there will be a presence of multiple number of adenine subunits, adenylate residues we can say. So from 200 to 300 number of adenylate residues will get added. So at the tail side there will be there around 200 to 300 times. Now this is called the activated RNA, or we can say the mRNA. So when mRNA will be produced, they will be in the form of HNRNA. Now splicing will take place. After splicing, sometimes splicing and this methylated and adenylation process will perform at the same time. After this activation process, this mRNA will transported outside from the nucleus for the further processes termed as the translation. Hope you are clear now. In the next session, we'll try to understand the rest of the things of this chapter.